seconds.
Clutch is his name. Talking sports is his game.
End zone. Touchdown with no time left.
Pushing the limits.
They win on the last play of the ball game.
There are no limits.
Are you kidding?
Who can you count on to make the last throw or shot?
Wow, and the game is over.
Mikey Clutch. This is the final play.
Unbelievable.
That's right. We are back. We are back. Welcome into the final play with Mikey Clutch. I am the host, your host, Mikey Clutch. Championship Sunday. It's going to come to us here quickly tomorrow. Which two teams are going to punch their ticket to the big game? We'll get into some debt-free pick 3 later, head coach tracker, NBA news, and injury updates into the trade deadline. American Express Open, UFC 324. Packed show today. And we have to start with the NFL. As I mentioned, Championship Sunday tomorrow. 4 teams. We got the Patriots going on the road and traveling to the Denver Broncos. That's game 1, 2 p.m. Central Time. You know, it's unfortunate Bo Nix gets hurt late last week against the Bills. And here I thought the Bills, this was their year. And as predicted, Sean McDermott fired after that loss. I think it's everybody's kind of head scratching why they fired him after that. I know 5 turnovers is pretty brutal from your players. Josh Allen, a couple of bonehead fumbles, especially the one right before half. That kind of hurt them. And I don't know. Josh Allen, I thought he was going to step it up. I thought this was like his year. As I had mentioned 2 weeks prior, no Mahomes, it's wide open. No Lamar. You should have had that one in the bag in Denver, but they just couldn't pull it out. And unfortunately, McDermott had to go. I think it's just you couldn't get over that hump. And I just think it was time to part ways based on just how they underperformed in the playoffs under his tenure there. So that's a head coaching spot that is now vacant, and we'll see who gets filled there. But the Patriots kind of let Houston hang around a little bit too long last week, and that Houston defense really kept them in the game. This Patriots offensive line, not looking so good in the playoffs here. And I know they went up against a couple of really good defenses in the Chargers and the Texans, and they're coming up against a really good one. Led the league in sacks, 68 sacks on the year for the Denver Broncos defense. So offensive lines tend to not travel well in the playoffs. Drake May, the 2 games in the playoffs, sacked 10 times, 5 each game. And we know this Denver defense can get to the quarterback. And this is why I kind of am not just because Jared Stidham is going to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. It doesn't mean that this is just a shoe-in for the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl and beat Denver. I think Stidham was going to be able to manage the game. He's been under Sean Payton the last 3 years. Now, I know he only was able to get some action in 2023. Muy pequeño sample size. Muy pequeño. But 40 for 66, 496 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in 2023 in his only action under Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos. So he's at least got experience in this system. So all is not lost for the Denver Bronco fans and that team. As I mentioned, Stroud, 4 interceptions last week, 5 total turnovers against this New England team. And New England, it was a 6-point game going into the fourth quarter. It was a 1-possession game. So that right there kind of scares me for this game against Denver, because I think it can be a close game because of that Denver defense and putting pressure on Drake May and the Patriots offense. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to just put this team away. And we did see you could run the ball on this Denver defense. Granted, they came into the playoffs, I think number 2 against the rush, but I mentioned last week, Buffalo, a lot of teams kind of abandoned the run against this Denver defense, and Buffalo stuck with it in over 100 yards easily. James Cook, after not being able to do much against Jacksonville the round prior. So we'll see if New England has that recipe. And Drake May, couple turnovers last week in bad spots. So if he can protect the ball, I think New England will be fine. It'll probably be a sloppy, close game. But if he turns the ball over, don't give this Denver team chances. This Denver team has come from behind at multiple occasions this year, and found ways to win. So I just think you have to keep a clean game if you're New England. Run the ball. Stevenson looked pretty solid. TreVeyon Henderson, I mean, quick pass. Again, the screen game seems to be what you want to do for New England to neutralize this Denver pass rush, and just quick passes, get it out to your running backs, let them do the work. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting who gets to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. I love that Sean Payton's going to have a chance. And then Mike Vrabel, what a great story it was this year, potential coach of the year in New England. And if Drake May and Vrabel can get to the Super Bowl for this Patriots team, it's just, I mean, this franchise, how they've been able to recover, a couple grim years there after Brady left. But wow, they turned this thing around quickly, and it looks like they have their QB of the future with Drake May. It's just fun to see. Are we going to see this Patriots team go on another 20-year run with this head coach and quarterback combo? It's extremely early to say, but I don't know. It would be quite the, I don't know what franchise. I mean, NFL wise, this is unprecedented. NBA, you're going to start comparing it to the Celtics, oddly enough, from Massachusetts, but Lakers too, just teams that have been able to long extended just dominance and championship runs in sports. So that would be fun to see. But like I said, Sean Payton on the other side of things, getting a chance after taking a year off hiatus, going in the media, and being able to pick his spot, taking over when Russell Wilson was his quarterback, and changing this thing around in Denver really quickly. It took him 3 years, and he's got a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. Rooting for him, rooting for Vrabel. I just hope this is a good game. I think both defenses are probably going to show up, and they're going to have to. It's just Denver, I think, has a bit of a better chance to stop this Drake May offense just because of the pressure that they're going to be able to apply on that offensive line, especially as I mentioned. It's just, what are we going to see out of this New England defense? If you take away Stroud's 4 interceptions, I mean, you can kind of move the ball through the air if you can protect your quarterback, and Denver has protected their quarterbacks so far. Just last week in the playoffs, but no sacks given up. And I know Stidham might not have the running capability of Nix, but he's a pretty accurate thrower. I think if New England gives up some big plays, that'll be some trouble. But we'll see. We'll see how that game goes. Moving on to the second game, we have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Seattle Seahawks. Game 3 between these two teams this year. Now, of course, the last one, we know how that ended. Overtime win for Seattle, go for 2. A lot of crazy things in that game. A lot of weirdness as well. But Seattle came out on top. The previous game before that, it was Sam Darnold's 4 interceptions, and Rams won by 2. So, listen, 3 points, 3-point differential combined in the 2 games this year. So you know it's going to be tight and close. What will we see? I don't know. Like, do we get the Puka versus Jackson Smith and Jigba matchup that we got the second time around? Are we going to get a good running back matchup? And, you know, there's no Zach Charbonnet. So it's all Kenneth Walker to carry the load for the Seattle Seahawks. And then Kyron Williams, who he's such a workhorse for the Rams. I kind of think he's the key piece in that offense for Stafford to have good games. And he looked good last week against the Bears in Chicago. So they're traveling again. The run game tends to travel better than the passing game. But, you know, again, these games are so odd. You know, Stafford had over 450 yards passing, the 3 touchdowns, clean game, and they still lost to Seattle. And yeah, I mean, he's got to play at an MVP level, I think, in this one, just because of how dominant the Seattle defense has looked to end the season. And definitely last week to start the playoffs. I mean, Sam Darnold wasn't asked to do much against the Niners. They kind of ran away with it early. And, you know, Rashid Shaheed, I keep bringing him up, that kick return to start the game, and he was that key that punt return against the Rams in that overtime comeback victory for the Seahawks. Kind of was the momentum starter to kickstart that comeback. And he's just big playability in the return game. Very underrated trade deadline move. And I mean, Seattle, the special teams, and Rams a little shaky in special teams. We've seen it. And honestly, the Rams a little shaky late in games. They almost gave that one away in Chicago. Bears again, just I don't know. Something was gonna give at some point, right? The Rams, you know, the Eagles game earlier in the year. You're up 19.5 against the Eagles of all teams and allow them to come back. And then, yeah, like I said, Chicago, the 4th down. I don't know what happened in the back end of that defense for the Rams, but Caleb, of course, making that throw and completing the touchdown at the end of the game to push it to overtime. They had a chance. Now Caleb's turnovers kind of killed the Bears in that one, but they fought to the very end, and the Rams just, I don't know what it is. I think late in games, they kind of get a little tight. And you would think with that run game, you're able to put some teams away, but I think you kind of rely on Stafford too much at the end of games to make throws. And I don't know. I think this Seattle secondary, when healthy, is really solid. It's just going to be a fun matchup. It's the 3rd time around, so these teams really know each other. Even going back to last year, both games, they split 1 possession game in both. And that's with Geno Smith playing quarterback. And I seeing what we saw this year, complete upgrade going to Sam Darnold from Geno. So I think tight matchup, tight game. We'll get into my picks coming up here in a second. But I don't know. I think in the other game, I felt a little more confident on the side that I'm going to pick. This one is really a toss-up, and I still haven't really decided. I'll probably decide when I make this pick coming up. But let's move on to it, I suppose. We're going to do the debt-free pick 3. Now, there's only 2 NFL games, so it's really debt-free pick 2 for NFL. So for a bonus, I'm going to throw an NBA game tipping off in a couple hours here, and it, of course, players game time decisions. So we're not 100% sure who's going to be playing in the 76ers and New York Knicks game. But let's get the debt-free pick 3 going.
We don't do anything illegal.
Debt-free pick 3.
Look what I found in my pocket. Look, a year's salary right here. What I call them? A fun coupon.
This is the debt-free pick 3
On the final play.
with Mikey Clutch.
All right. So the Patriots are favored by 4.5 on the road in Denver. 4.5 on the road in Denver. Like I said, I was a little more confident with this pick. So I am going to take Denver plus 4.5 at home. Just New England's offensive line. I just think this is why the game's going to be a lot closer. If the spread was 2.5, I probably would take New England. But I don't know. I like Denver at home. I think a lot of people are counting them out just because, like I said, Jarrett Stidham's going to be starting at quarterback. But hey, crazier things have happened in the playoffs. We've seen Nick Foles make a Super Bowl run and win a Super Bowl. Could this be it? I said there's familiarity there. He's been in this system for 3 years. I don't think it's just going to be a layover and die situation for Denver. They're at home with the, the elevation. New England traveling, and then I mentioned the offensive lines don't tend to travel well. So I think Denver is able to keep this one close. I think this is more of a field goal game than it is a touchdown or 4-point game. So I am taking Denver plus 4.5 at home. Second game, the Rams and Seahawks. Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites, which I've been on the wrong side in both the matchups this year. I believe I took, I think it was Seattle minus 2.5 as well when they lost, or plus 2.5 when they lost to the Rams the first time around, 21-19. And then they were 1.5-point favorites against the Rams, and I took them again, and they didn't cover because they won by 1 point. So I'm taking the Rams this time around, plus 2.5. I think they win outright. Now, again, I'm not very confident in this game. I think the Rams find a way to win this one. Both games were close. They had the lead the second time. I just feel like they controlled both games better, and we'll see. I think Sam Darnold, a lot more asked from him this week to kind of, this is make or break for Sam Darnold to prove to everybody that, he can be counted on in big game situations. I think he's still going to perform well. I just think the Rams are going to find a way to edge it out. Devontae Adams in this one wasn't in the last one, but we'll see. Cooper Kupp, he gets a third time against his former team. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm going the Rams plus 2.5 on the road in Seattle. And finally, NBA action. 76ers are, I believe, at, I don't remember. Let me double check this. No, 76ers are at home against the New York Knicks. Minus 1.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Philadelphia 76ers in this one. I know the Knicks had a really good win against Brooklyn, probably the worst team in the NBA. They kind of bounced back after just going on a bad run. Now, maybe they turn the things around. Maybe this is the game. Of course, we don't know if Embiid's going to play. We don't know if Paul George is going to play. And then also Karl Anthony Towns is a game time decision. Sixers have won both matchups already this year. by 9 and 11. They were swept last year, though, from the Knicks. This is probably a close game in the Knicks. I had to pick a third game because it is the debt-free pick 3, not the debt-free pick 2. So I'm adding the NBA, and we are 32 and 32 on the NFL picks all year. So we're 500. So who knows? Maybe we split this one again this year. But yeah, that's the debt-free pick 3. We're going Broncos plus 4.5 at home versus the Patriots. We have the Los Angeles Rams plus 2.5 on the road in Seattle, and then Philadelphia 76ers minus 1.5 at home versus the New York Knicks. And that'll wrap that up. Moving on. Wild year. And a lot of coaches fired. A couple midseason. We had Sean McDermott, as predicted, to be fired after that loss last week. So that's another spot open. I wanted to just touch quickly. We had a couple hires and spots filled, but right now, Atlanta Falcons, Kevin Stefanski filled up. After being fired as a head coach in Cleveland, he's now going to be the Atlanta Falcons head coach. Miami Dolphins got rid of Mike McDaniel. Jeff Hafley, the Packers DC, now in there. The big one, John Harbaugh, after getting fired from Baltimore at the end of the season, is now going to be the New York Giants head coach. And then Robert Saleh, as predicted, again, after the phenomenal job he did in San Francisco as the defensive coordinator, coming back after his time as the New York Jets head coach, is now going to be the Tennessee Titans head coach. Kind of unfortunate for him. I think this is another bad situation. Cam Ward did not look good his rookie season. Now the Tennessee Titans as a whole, not really a good team. So we'll see if he can turn that thing around. I hope he does. I wanted him to probably go to a different team. Maybe Pittsburgh or the Cardinals in division for the Niners. So all the luck to Robert Saleh, but remains to be seen. But I'm not as confident with his role there in Tennessee. And then the spot's still open. Cleveland Browns, Las Vegas Raiders, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, and the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Raiders probably the most intriguing and I would say potential best spot available. Now I know the franchise's history in the last decade, 2 decades hasn't been that great. I should say decade and a half. It hasn't been that great. But number 1 pick is Mendoza. I mean, I probably locked it up. He officially declared for the NFL draft. Mendoza led an undefeated squad to a natty for college football in Indiana. I would honestly, because that job's open, it would be cool to see Cignetti leave Indiana, go to the Las Vegas Raiders, and join and draft his quarterback. And I don't know. I think if Mendoza's going to get drafted to the Raiders absolutely need either a familiar coach or an offense. They got to go offensive. They really do. I think all the weapons that they have on offense, it's such a now intriguing job if Mendoza goes in there. Because you got Ashton Genty, you got Brock Bowers, and you got some young guys in the receiving core that, but maybe pick a guy up in the second round. You're going to want to protect him, though. That's the thing. You probably are going to want an offensive lineman early draft or try and find some guys in the offseason to pick up in free agency. And then the defense, get a good DC in there. It would have been Saleh going to the Vegas Raiders to at least be the defense coordinator. I think would have been pretty nice for that team, but he wanted to be head coach. But yeah, so Raiders probably the most intriguing job right now as far as the vacancies that are still open. But moving on, let's get into some NBA talk. I just wanted to quickly, last time was my mid-season kind of review, went over it. But some key injuries here at midway point near the trade deadline. Giannis, another calf injury. He's kind of felt like it feels the same as it did earlier in the trend. Calf injuries turning into Achilles tear injuries. So I don't know, but he's still, I think, able to be traded. Everybody's talking about the Giannis potential trades. He still hasn't come out and said he wants to be traded. I think until that happens, he's not going to be traded. Milwaukee's just not going to give up on him and trying to put a team around him. But I don't know. They're just not a good team around. They just don't have enough around him. And if Giannis is the competitor that I think he is and have seen in the past, he's got to ask out. I just don't know what else the Bucks are going to be able to do to put more around him. I just think he's got to go to a team that really needs help and just is a contender that's a piece away now. Probably won't happen, but I think the team that has easily the most to give up to go get Giannis is the OKC Thunder. Call me crazy, but what they're able to give up and still like retain to get Giannis, I think is, listen, they've looked somewhat shakier this year than last year. Now that could be just the finals run last year. You're still kind of going through the motions. I think come playoffs, OKC is going to be fine. But yeah, I think that would be a very interesting spot because not only do they have enough, but to give up and still retain. On the flip side, Milwaukee, you can get a lot to kind of hit the reset button and restart a lot quicker with the pieces and the picks that you can get from OKC. And secondly, I don't know, the Jimmy Butler thing. I don't know if he's going to be traded to the Warriors. That's more of a text chain that I'm in that was floated around. But I don't see that one. Second team, I mean, could he be traded to the Spurs? Contract-wise, I don't know how it fits. But I think you can give up a De'Aaron Fox. You know, you got Stephon Castle. I think Fox would have to be in that trade. I think him and Wemby together, I think that's how you would beat OKC in the playoffs. But yeah, those are probably my three destinations. And then another guy who's been in trade rumors basically the last, I feel like 3-4 years, Jonathan Kuminga. He injures his knee and ankle. Do they keep or trade him? I don't know. It's always been the battle with this Golden State Warriors and Kuminga. But I mean, when Jimmy Butler tore his ACL and Kuminga came in, Kuminga hadn't played a game since December 18th. And then the game after Butler tore his ACL, we see Kuminga again versus Toronto, 21 minutes, 20 points, and was the reason why that lead in the third quarter went from 30 points to, I think, 14 to finish out that third quarter and made it a game again and made it to where the Warriors can keep it interesting. And then the last game before he went down, 10 minutes or 9 minutes, 10 points against Dallas. He was 3 for 3, and then he got hurt. And that was, like I said, 10 minutes of gameplay. So who knows what could have happened. It just, now it kind of leaves more on the bone and more intrigue for the Golden State Warriors on what they want to do. I mean, Butler's going to be out the rest of the year and for, half the next season. So do you roll the dice again and see what you can get out of Kuminga? But I just think Warriors need a lot more help than that, just because even with Butler, I don't think they were even going to make the conference finals, maybe not even the conference semifinals. They just need a lot more help. And then finally, Aaron Gordon went down again with a hamstring injury for the Nuggets. So they're now back to just leaning on Jamal Murray for the most part. But I don't know. It's just the Nuggets. If they're going to hang around, I think no matter what, They're not going to do worse than a 6 seed, even with all the injuries. I think they're too good of a team. And I just, again, watch out for them come playoff time, because people I think are going to forget about how good they are when Jokic is in the lineup and how good Jokic is. And just when they make the playoffs and everybody's back and healthy, they are a threat. One of the 2 threats, I think, to OKC, and can very much beat them and make the finals. I still think it's Nuggets and Celtics finals this year, but remains to be seen. We'll see how that finishes out. Back real quickly, the American Express Open. We got Scotty Scheffler in the lead. Well, not in the lead, but I don't even know from when I started. He was still tied for first, right? He was 17 under. He's playing the harder course day. That's what I love about the American Express. They all play on 3 different courses. You got the Pete Dye Stadium course, which is probably the toughest. Actually, I think the Jack Nicklaus tournament course might be the toughest. And then you got the La Quinta, which everybody seems to just 9 under or better. So you can get a lot of good scoring, which if you look down here on the ticker, Scheffler, like I said, plays that Pete Dye course today. And then they always finish round 4 with the Pete Dye course as well. So he's going to get double chance at it today and tomorrow, which kind of benefits him with being tied for first. Now he's in the 3rd place solo. It looks like Eric Cole and Blades Brown are tied for first at 18 under. But watch out for Siwoo Kim, Patrick Cantlay, and Ben Griffin. All play La Quinta today, all right there. 4 shots off the lead. Siwoo Kim only 2 shots off the lead. And he hasn't started yet. And he's playing La Quinta. So my prediction, probably Siwoo Kim is going to be the leader off that course, and maybe the leader at the end of the day for the whole tournament going in tomorrow. But Scotty Scheffler, I mean, he's still looking like number 1. It looks very unbeatable still. I mean, the fact that he's just doing what he's doing, getting a full start this year, because last year with the hand injury, cutting his hand, not being able to play the first month, it's back to Scotty Scheffler running this thing and man, going for that Grand Slam this year, which I hope. Wrapping it up, UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. I just wanted to give a couple picks. It's kind of unfortunate. One of my favorite picks, and it almost feels like a lock, is Atiba, I think is his name. Atiba, but Gauthier, the silent assassin. Watch out for him against who's his fight against? This guy, I got to see him fight a few months ago. He's 9-1. He's got 8 straight knockouts, TKOs in a row. So 8 of his 9 finishes, 8 of his 9 wins are finishes. He's going against Andrei Pulyaev. Watch for another TKO knockout. Now the odds, if you want to bet it, are not that good. I think he's like minus 500 to finish it with a knockout or TKO. So yeah, he's just been fun to watch. I can't wait till he gets a chance at fighting some bigger names and some legit guys, because what I saw the first time I saw him, unbelievable. It's just, I don't know how you stop this kid. And he's 23 years old. He's in no rush to fight some top contenders. He even said himself, he wants to take his time. He's 23. He just wants to go step by step. And he says, I'm going to be a champion. I'm going to be a champion, but there's no rush to get there. So I just watch for another dominating win today. That'll be fun to watch. Rooting for Patty versus Gaethje. Patty the Batty. He's looked really good in the last few fights. Gaethje up and down here and there, but I don't know. For some reason, I have a feeling Gaethje's going to take that one. And then Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I think that's how you pronounce it. Kind of got Song in this one in a knockout. I think Sean O'Malley's kind of looked vulnerable in his last few fights. So that's just my quick picks for UFC 324, which excited to watch that tonight. But thank you for tuning in to the Final Play with Mikey Clutch. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe on X, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at TFP Mikey Clutch, where we will be live, where you can catch my videos. It's been a while, TikTok. It's been a while since I've had a prophecy pick of the day. We'll get one today. Most likely, actually, for fun, might do UFC. I'll pick a UFC match to do a player prop on. And hopefully that hits to start a streak again. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your weekend.